I had waited 300 years for this moment, and when it finally came, it felt nothing like waiting at all. The order moved through the fleet like a shared breath. In the space of a single instant, everything that had been still for centuries began to move. From the rings of Saturn, thousands of our vessels rose into the dark above your world. Your own sun caught our hulls and poured light down through your atmosphere, and what your people saw when they looked up was something no human language had ever been built to describe. The sky had not opened. It had simply revealed what had always been behind it. I watched from above the clouds as the sound of your streets began to change. The ordinary noise of human life that our instruments had recorded for so long shifted into something older and quieter. Not silence exactly, but the sound a living thing makes when it reaches the edge of everything its history has prepared it to understand. Your militaries responded the only way they knew how, reaching for the language of force before any other thought had time to form. I recorded the weapons rising toward the nearest hull. Not with alarm, but with the quiet sorrow that comes from watching the same pattern repeat itself across worlds and centuries. The weapons reached us and were returned to the ground that had launched them. Not destroyed, simply returned, the way you might hand something back to a child who does not yet understand what they are holding. It was in the silence that followed that she stopped moving. She stood completely still in a street where everyone around her was running, looking up at the light filling the sky above her. And in the frequency her body produced in that moment, I recorded something that had no place in any category our 3 centuries of observation had ever created. They are not here to destroy us. I held my sensors on her and read what she was carrying inside that stillness. It was not hope and it was not certainty, but something quieter and more precise than either of those things. The specific quality of a mind that has already decided to act on what it understands before the world around it has caught up to the same conclusion. I began to recalibrate every model we had built for this civilization over 3 centuries of uninterrupted observation. Something in our calculations had failed to account for what I was reading in her signal, and the gap between what we had predicted and what was actually happening in that street was larger than anything our records had prepared us for. And then before I could identify what we had missed, the second signal moved. He turned and looked up toward the position of my vessel above the clouds. He could not have known we were there, and yet he looked directly toward me. And he held that gaze for longer than any coincidence could. Thank you for watching until the end. We need your support. Please subscribe to our channel and give us a like.